What's up, everybody? I'm Coach Marcus with IFN. Three things that every parent needs to know about recruiting. One, don't wait for coaches to come to you. Be aggressive, go to camps, get film, send it out, communicate so that you're not just waiting for somebody to come to you. Number two, work on your game, work on your game, work on your game. Make sure your kids has the requisite skills to play at the level they want to play. So be able to shoot the basketball, take care of the basketball, have a high skill set. And last but not least, be positive, have a great attitude as the games are going on. Colleges are looking at the sidelines. They want to make sure that they're not bringing in any bad habits or any bad attitudes into their program. So they're watching the kids, they're watching the parents. So stay positive over there on the sidelines. Good luck. Just like the world, everything is different. Going through COVID, going through where we are in society, there's a whole lot of things that's different about the world that has obviously impacted AAU. That next year, I had 3 kids in the top 20. You saw us playing, and that really turned the whole game around.
They should merge with a shoe circuit team.
That or they're probably going to lose their kids anyway.
If you're good enough, they'll find you.
It depends. Or can they help you? 800 team tournament, you on court 73. We've run tournaments for a long time. We used to run Queen of the South, and those coaches didn't move that much. Like, they'd get on those main courts. They may walk back there in the back once or twice. And that was only 120 teams.
It has kept you in it for so long.
Got over 120 kids that have played college basketball.
15 years. So walk us through that journey.
I love practice more than I like the game. No idea what I was doing before. I'm gonna teach fundamentals.
Yeah. Welcome to It's Just Different podcast. We bring on people who have been where you were trying to go and or have helped countless athletes get there. I'm gonna do a little introduction because y'all really be telling me that I never introduced myself. But my name is Ashley Roberts. I'm your host, serial entrepreneur, your favorite educator. I talk to all the parents, trying to help the parents and players out. But it's not about me. It's about the people I bring on for y'all. And I got a friend. Here, coach, entrepreneur, everything. Marcus is in the building today. How you living? How you doing?
I am fantastic. Thank you for having me out. I'm excited to be here on the It's Just Different podcast.
Yeah.
So thanks for the invite.
Man, we were just talking about this earlier, y'all. When I first decided to have the podcast, Marcus was the first person I called. I went to his house. We filmed this episode. I don't even know what happened. I think it wasn't...
You changed your mind or something for a while. You delayed it.
Oh, yeah. So I decided to wait.
Yeah.
But then when I finally looked at it, I don't think the audio... Something was wrong with the audio.
Yeah.
So we filmed a whole hour episode with no audio.
But it was good practice.
It was good practice, and you are back. And I'm excited to have this conversation.
Thank you.
Man, we start this podcast off with what's different. The name of the podcast is called It's Just Different. I think the game of basketball is different, whether good or bad. What would you say is different as it relates to AAU now versus back then?
Just like the world, everything is different, right? I think, going through COVID, going through where we are in society, there's a whole lot of things that's different about the world that has obviously impacted AAU. I think the way kids receive information is different. I think the way parents raise their kids is different. And so, in turn, we have to be different in how we approach the game and the players and the parents. And so I just think the whole approach to coaching kids are different right now.
Yeah. How long you been in the game?
Oh, man, why you ask me that? It's been probably about 15 years now. So
15 years?
Yeah. I got over 120 kids that have played college basketball at all different levels. So it's been a fun ride, though. I still enjoy it. I get in the gym. I was in the gym with some middle schoolers the other day, man. I still enjoy it. I still get hyped up about getting in and teaching.
What do you think it is that gets you? Because we done had many conversations.
Right.
Let me tell you, I've been
I know.
I'm over this. I can't do it.
My yearly August phone call from Ashley.
Literally,
every year.
I'm calling. I'm like, I'm done. But what has kept you in it for so long?
You know what's fun for me is, when I get in the gym, I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
Right. For me, I love practice more than I like the game.
Mm-hmm.
And just the other day, I was in the gym with some kids, and we missing shots because there's some technical stuff they're not doing right. So I just stopped practice and I went broke something down and got back to it, and the kids immediately showed positive results. And I love progress,
Yeah.
and so that was what really gets me. I love seeing people, not just kids, but even people. I mean, you know this, right? We talk about all kind of stuff outside of basketball, and I just love being able to give somebody some advice or a tip or something that just helps them progress.
Right.
Because I've had so much of that in my life, so it's kind of my way of paying back. I've been very fortunate to have somebody, why don't you do this or bail me out of that or something as an entrepreneur. Um, a lot of people like entrepreneurs, you're doing everything yourself, but for me, it's been fortunately by having other people, guide me. So
Yeah.
I try to give it back that way.
Yeah. You said 15 years. So walk
Yeah.
us through that journey.
Oof. Had no idea what I was doing before. When I first started, all I knew was, I'm gonna teach fundamentals.
Yeah.
My daughter started playing, and so my thing was, I'm not gonna care about wins and losses. She was young, so I'm just gonna focus on teaching. And so I saw immediate improvement. Like, of course, then, played the league, we won the league, and then we said, oh man, we're gonna go to AAU. And so we went. This was when AAU Nationals used to be at Disney,
Ooh,
which I wish they would bring back.
I miss AAU
God,
Nationals.
that was a fantastic tournament.
Yeah.
And so we were winning around the city at the time. And so we said, we're going to go to AAU Nationals thinking we were cold. And we get to AAU Nationals, got blown out the first year. I mean, we got waxed. And I said right then, okay, we got some stuff to do. So I came back, teach fundamentals. Went the next year, and you may or may not remember, but you played pool play, and like the top two went to winning bracket, and the bottom two went to consolation. Well, we were in consolation the year before. This time we went to the winner side.
Yeah.
Made about halfway through, and then we picked up some kids that saw us playing, and one of those kids happened to end up being number 2 kid in the country. Our mom saw us playing and said, I like the way y'all play. I want to come play for y'all. I didn't even recruit her. She just came and played for us because she saw us playing.
Mm-hmm.
And that really turned the whole game around. And like that next year, I had 3 kids in the top 20.
Wow.
I just walked into it. I had no clue what I was doing. But again, had people around me like Ray Caldwell. Like he was kind of like, man, here's where you need to go. Here's what you knew. Because I knew nothing. I was just playing when I first started.
Ray is a true OG.
Yeah. True OG. He was like, man, you ought to go here. Why don't you come down here? Let me go to this camp, go to that camp. And I took my kids where he told me to go. And man, that squad was loaded. 2 of those kids went to Texas. The other went to another major school. One went to Baylor. I mean, it was crazy. So it was a crazy team.
First off, congratulations for taking the first step. That first step is listening to this episode. But you need a little bit more. You're looking for a community. Like you're itching for the information. It's one thing to get all of this free information, but you need to be inside a community. I have a community, the different community that is for girls basketball players, parents. We meet bi-weekly. There's monthly drops into the community. You get to ask me questions. And more importantly, the parents get to celebrate with each other. Who wouldn't want some motivation, some celebration along this journey? Join the different community. The link is below. The link is in the description. The link is wherever you're listening to this. Come on and join us and get in the community. So you had your own organization for a while, and then you made a change.
Yeah, made a change. Then I got with my boy Ray, obviously. Made a change, got on the shoe circuit. Because the whole game, at that time, you could be an independent and survive. And a matter of fact, it was better to be independent because we could control who we played. And during that time, you could play top teams in the country. So even though we were independent, we were playing some of the best teams in the country because we were going around and the tournament directors would hook us up. They knew, okay, this is a good team, so we're gonna play you against them. But then that changed when the Sioux Circus took all the dates.
So do you think I do agree, but I don't know if I would say it's fully changed. I think independence will take a hit when all the shoe circuits do it.
Right.
Because I think right now it's only Nike is the only shoe team that has all the stops.
Right. They have all the stops.
Because Under Armour has what? How many?
3. We got
So
3
you got
ghost
one
funds, so it's
open.
only 1 open.
And then I think Adidas has 3.
Yeah, I think Adidas only has 1 open. So it's still tough as independent.
It is.
Because you get 1 weekend. Like, we used to get the Heat on
Yeah.
all 4 stuff. The only one we didn't was Boo, but then you still had other teams. So at that time, you still had independents that was good.
Yeah.
And
That's a fact.
so we were able to catch Heat the whole summer.
Yeah.
And we were playing against top kids, which was helping our kids move up the rankings. You know, we were playing teams out of the Midwest. We were playing, I remember back in the day, it was before even when books and basketball was independent.
Yeah.
You know, we played them. That was a battle. They were undefeated at the time. Going
Yeah.
into July, had never lost, and we clipped them a little bit. So
Wow.
that was good. That was a good little deal.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of independents. So then now with all the circuits, even the independent circuit, right? So they took the good independents too.
Yeah.
So you couldn't really be an independent anymore and survive with really good talent for your top kids who needed to get out there and play against some Heat.
So you think if any independent programs got top kids, they should try to join they should merge with a shoe circuit team?
Or they're probably going to lose their kids anyway.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't think right now. Like, I feel like, so I was just talking to somebody.
Okay.
If I had competitive edge right now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, top kid, that can go either way. But let's just say I had some Division I kids.
Yeah.
I feel like I can still put together a strong enough schedule being independent, because what I would do is April would be the only hard one, because I don't think there's no shoe circuits off in April. Right. But in May, Adidas or Under Armour, are y'all?
Under Armour is, we open in May. So
I would go to where the majority of the Under Armour teams are going, and I'm going to play against them.
But that's it.
No, and then same thing in July.
July, everybody's gone. So that's the tough part. You got 1 weekend.
Really?
Yeah, I think everybody's going to July.
I thought Adidas. When is Adidas? Adidas is off.
I think Adidas. Well, you're right. I don't know. Maybe they
July.
open there early July.
But I guess it's only 2 dates technically.
Yeah. It's just tough, man. I'm telling you, it's tough. It's tough for you. Got a really good kid who needs to play against good talent. You know, it's hard to hold on to him as an independent. So I made the switch and merged with Ray, and me and Ray been independents forever.
Yeah.
If there was any 2 people that would love to be independent, it'd be us. But we got good kids, and they want to play against the best, and it's hard to build a schedule around it.
Do you think if you're good enough, they'll find you?
I still do. It depends, right? It depends on who you play for, right? Does the person you play for, can they help you, right? The good thing about it being OG in the league for so long with me is there are recruiting. When I came in, there are coaches who are recruiting coordinators that are now head coaches, right? So we got a relationship going way back to when they was recruiting my kids as a recruiting coordinator. Now they head coaches, and they still remember me. I still can call them, and I'm judicious about how I put our kids out there. I don't call all these schools for a kid that I know they can't go to, right? I try to understand the style of play that these coaches have, the kind of players. If they recruited kids from me in the past, that then I can relate them to that. I can say, hey, you remember so-and-so that played for you? I got another kid that's just like her. I think you'll like her if that coach has success with that kid. So that's the benefit of having a bunch of kids that play. If you don't have that relationship, I don't know. If you had a 800 team tournament and you're on court 73, I don't think so.
I just don't.
It's
I have to
hard.
get to some of these college coaches.
It's hard.
Who sat in the chair and saying yes, and I don't believe that.
It's hard.
There's no way.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, these college coaches, they got a list.
Yeah.
Right? They already know who they going to see.
Options. Yeah.
When they get to these tournaments.
Yeah.
So I think that is a big. I know that that's a big misconception of and some AAU coaches will feed that to their kids. We're going to Nike Nationals. We're going to Run for the Roses. We're going to these tournaments, and the coach is going to be there, so they're going to see you. And it's just not true.
No.
It's just not going to happen.
We've run tournaments for a long time. And we used to run Queen of the South, and those coaches didn't move that much. Like, they'd get on those main courts. They may walk back there in the back once or twice, and that was only 120 teams.
Exactly.
Which is what, me and Ray and, I know we got this league called Swiper Games where we're trying to take some of those independents and those kids who are not getting opportunities and say, hey, instead of go playing in an 800 team event, come to this event. It's going to be 80 coaches and it's going to be 80 teams. It's a 1-to-1 ratio.
Mm-hmm.
And all the teams are going to play on 5 or 6 courts, and the coaches are going to come. It's one thing I always love about Ray event in July is all my the blueprint, my D2 kids and low D1s always got looks there because it's a smaller event. It's the coaches are there about a 1-to-1 ratio instead of a 1 to 100 ratio, and they know they there. They know the kind of kids they looking for, and our kids, those kids were going to fit that profile, and so they're going to watch those games for those kind of kids.
Right.
And every year I've had a kid get an offer on a D2 or low D1 at that event. And so I think that's why we're trying to do this deal now. Is why don't we do this as a league, so we can get more teams? We got to get coaches to buy into it, AAU coaches to buy into it, the college coaches to buy into it, and honestly, some of those college coaches like the smaller events.
Right.
It's more affordable. They ain't got to pay for parking. Like a good D2 coach would rather come to an 80 team event than a 100 team event.
Absolutely.
I mean, an 800 team event. Because they're gonna be more in their wheelhouse of the kids they're looking for. They don't have to walk around a big stadium, and it's just easier for them to find that kid that fits their system.
Yep. I want to stay on a swiper league, right?
Yeah.
I want to stay on that for a second. Talk about it a little bit because some parents that's listening, some players or even AAU coaches might not know nothing about it. Like, what is it? How many stops? What is it designed to do? Where will it be?
Yeah. So 4 stops, only 2 of those on the NCAA live periods because we want to let people still have some availability to go. If they want to go to a bigger event, it's fine. But then we'll have 2 that's live, and then the 2 are just kind of doing the regular season. But if you're in that league, even during the regular season, we're going to be shooting video, profile on kids. We're going to have recruiting services. So these are kids that nobody, a D2 kid would probably never have a write-up in a recruiting service package.
Right.
But that's what we're committing to for the teams in this league, to try to give them, a little bit of publication around, evaluations on where they could play and all that. So I think it's just going to give a little bit more exposure to those kids who may get missed in the shuffle because they're, again, playing at the wrong events. And, most of the tweets and the publications about all the same 100 kids.
Same kids.
Right? No matter what event. So, if anybody knows Ray, anybody knows me, like, we always like to help this. We're not worried about the top kids.
Because they're going to get it.
We're not worried about them. Those ain't the ones we have to work for. We got to work for our D2 kids, our low D1 kids. Shoot, even some of our mid-major kids we got to work for. I've had some kids that played mid-major, but didn't get one till late. They got it, at their senior year in March, we get one come through. So, those are the kids, that I think are the system that we're in now kind of get missed in the shuffle.
Right.
Because they're going to, these coaches are taking to these big events and they don't really have a chance to get seen.
And it's so crazy that it's almost like you got to convince AAU coaches to go to something like this. When it's like, why are you going to spend all this money?
It's crazy.
I'm even going back to the blueprint.
Yeah.
Like, so many teams that I would talk to, and it's like, oh, well, it's a smaller event. And I'm like, that's what you want.
That's what you want. Yeah. Look at the coaches that's there. You was there at the blueprint.
I was there.
Right? Sidelines was full.
Multiple courts.
It was 4. 4 courts, right? 4 courts. Teams that ain't never had coaches sitting on their games was sitting on their games. Yeah. One of my second teams, we had a kid that didn't have anything, but she was a good kid. She could play D2. Got a D2 offer at that event. I just think it's a good event. And again, coaches are getting caught up in numbers of, 800. Everybody else is going, I should go.
Right.
And I had never been to an event that big until last year. I think Ray was the same way. Like, we have always, avoided those big tournaments because we know the game.
Right.
And we went last year and it was like, man, we just can't go to this big of an event anymore. It's like, it's not much value for it's okay for our top teams. Just wasn't much value for our second teams and our third teams.
Yeah. So what questions should parents ask? Because we're around this time of picking teams.
Yeah.
What questions should these parents be asking AAU directors when they're trying to find, and I'm going high school kids, when they're trying to find a team?
I would flip the script. Instead of saying, what should they be asking director, really, what should they be asking themselves?
Okay.
Right. they really need to have a true evaluation of where their kid is, right?
In what
In
way?
terms of where talent level, where can your kid
If
play?
you got a parent, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you got a
Yeah.
parent that didn't play basketball, how they gonna evaluate if they don't know, how they gonna evaluate their kid?
One thing I would say is, well, they're listening to somebody,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? They're listening to somebody, right? And right? That on your high school team, like where are you playing at your high school, right? Then one of the things that I do now, going in, and I'm kind of going back a little bit to what's different, is kids used to come in and parents used to come in. They trusted our word because they've seen what we've done, right? They've seen that we've got kids in school. They've seen us play. They know we work for our kids. But now it's like, if you're not putting that on social media, which I'm not a big social media guy, it's almost like you don't exist. They don't know that you've
You are
done that,
right.
right? And so I have to change how I deal with them. So one of the things I do when they come in, they may think they're really good. I say, okay, once we build our teams, I make all of our kids bring me their high school stats. Because you'd be surprised, kids don't know what good stats are.
Yeah.
Right? They think I scored 20. So I said, no, I need to know how many attempts you took throughout the year. Right? And I need to know your shooting percentage. Now, like, I don't have it. Go ask your coach. So I make them go with their coach. They come back with their shooting percentages. Yeah, you average 18 points a game, but you're shooting 27% from the field. Can't play nowhere like that. Right? And so I think parents should start trying to understand what's a good shooting percentage, right? What's a good product? If your kid is 6'2" and they got 4 rebounds a game, that ain't good.
Yep.
Right? And then if you understand that, then that kind of tells you right there, like, what do I need to play to help my kid get better? Not to be seen. It's too much kids want to play to be seen, right? Too early. Right? You got freshmen and sophomores worried about being seen. Your freshman and sophomore, you need to, where can you go, develop your game, make mistakes, and still be in the game. If you're making one mistake and sitting on the bench, that ain't the right place for you. You need to go somewhere where you can turn. If you're a point guard, and you can throw that thing away a bunch of times and still play, right? But understand that you need to get better. But also, you got to have that coach helping you get better from those mistakes, so that when you're a junior, now those turnovers become good passes. Then I think that's where you need to play, right? Parents should know in the tryout how their kids are ranking when they see go to a couple of tryouts and see how your kid performing in those tryouts, right? Or do they look like they're behind, or they not getting any touches, right? If they're not getting a lot of touches in the tryout, what you think gonna happen during the game, during the season, right? So I think those are things they can think about as they go through trying to figure out where to play. Don't listen so much to what the coach is telling you, except go in their gym. Go in their gym. How does your kid react to that coach when he's teaching them? Or is he teaching them?
Yeah,
That's the one. Right? Or are they just playing 5-on-5 in the tryout, right? Or are they making them run some stuff so that the ball is moving? Or depending on what your kid does, if you want your kid to shoot 30 times, are they able to shoot 30 times in the tryout? That's the spot for you. Yeah. Right? So I think that's what it is. And I think what you said is, like, that's why I say, don't worry about what the AAU director is telling you. Just go in their gym and watch. Go try out. And what you want for your kid, you'll be able to see in that tryout if it fits or not. I think that's I think that's part of it.
I also feel like if the kids' goal is to play college basketball, like, I think absolutely all of that, like, you need to know that, you need to see that, you need to go, you need to see for yourself. But I find a lot of coaches that, like I said earlier, they're gonna say, I feel like parents need to know what the tournament schedule look like.
Yeah.
I feel like they need to know what college coaches you actually have, what contacts do you actually have, because some directors will say, "Oh yeah, I'll call this coach." My kid might be a D2 kid, and you might have nothing but D1 contacts. Like, yeah, you got a lot of contacts,
Absolutely.
but it's not. It might not be. You might not have a relationship with D2 schools.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be the right fit.
Right.
Right. So, and it does go back to what you said of, like, evaluation. One, knowing what level your kid is.
Yeah.
But I think that that's important to know, because I find a lot of kids that'll go to said program that might be the best program around, but that might not be the program for your daughter.
That's right.
You know, they
Yeah.
might be, they might have people going to Baylor and Texas and Kentucky and wherever.
Yeah. But who's going to West Texas A&M, right?
And you don't went there because you think,
right.
and it just don't work that way.
Yeah. No, I agree. And that's hard. That is hard for a parent to figure out, right? Unless you know that they've been in it for a long time, they've had kids, it's hard to know that. You know, part of that is, I think, using your high school, right?
Yeah.
Using your high school coach maybe, or if your high school coach is not into that AAU, because some of them are not, right? What are the other kids in your high school or in your district, that have played before? Where did they go?
Right.
Right. So if you play at a high school that has some kids go play somewhere, where did they go play at? And maybe, if you got a friendship with them, they can say, hey, who'd you play for?
Yeah.
How was your experience? And so some of it is, I think people don't do enough homework.
Yeah.
Right. They don't do enough homework about where their kid is, where should they be. And again, and a lot of it just rushing the process. I do think it comes down to development. And I think now that's more important than ever because you have an opportunity to move up at every level with the portal at the college level now, right? Now you're starting to see kids play D1 late and they coming from mid-major, low mid-major, D2 even, going to go play at big schools now. So they're moving up the ladder, right? And so you got to get in the spot where you starting to develop at every level. And you may get there later on.
Yep.
Right? And that's important to know because you got to be productive these days coming out of high school.
You have to be productive.
You got to be productive. It is no more time to develop at the college level.
Nope.
So,
what do you think about I don't know if it's actually I think it have been approved, the new JUCO rule. Have it been
I don't know.
I don't think
know
it's been approved
yet. Has it? Okay.
Or if it haven't, it will be.
Yeah.
What do you think about the new rule where you basically can go JUCO and you keep your 2 years? Once you're done, you're still a freshman.
That's crazy. We're gonna have people 30 years old playing.
Listen, I said
ball.
at the end of the day, like some of these young ladies, they can get a PhD at this point.
I know. Hey, more power to them though. Like, go get your advanced degrees. But I don't know. I've gotten to the point now. Just tell me what the rules are, and I'm gonna deal with them. Whatever they're gonna be. Let's deal with them.
You get to keep your 2 years though, like
that's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, I know. I guess I'm not sure what the theory behind the rule was. I'm guessing they trying to make sure that more kids are going to JUCO. I don't know. I'm not sure what the theory is behind that, but yeah, I don't know how I feel about it.
Yeah.
To be honest. We'll see how it plays out and see what ramifications come out of it.
What's your preference of a kid wanting to get to the D1 level, D2 or JUCO?
It's about fit. It's about fit. There's some D2s that can beat some of these D1s.
But do you think that Division Ones, like I feel like, and nothing against D2, like I always say D free, first of all.
Right.
It's always D free.
Right.
But do you? I just don't. I feel like you have to put up high numbers if you go on D2. That I don't think that you have to do JUCO because I feel like a lot of the D1s that there are events specifically for these coaches to come to.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
D2.
That's true.
There aren't.
Yeah. I think some of it may come down to the passion of the kid.
Yeah.
Some kids just want to play in college and they don't really care if it's D1. Their parents might care more than they do.
Yeah.
Right. So if you want to just play, and it, as you know, D1 in good JUCOs, man, that is a job.
It is a job.
And D2 is a whole different level.
Yes.
More of my kids have enjoyed their careers in college at the D2 level than the D1, hands down.
Yeah.
And I think if you ask any director that if they're being honest, they'll tell you that the D2 kids enjoy their college careers better more often than the D1 kids.
And I think that actually should be talked about a lot. Like,
yeah.
Because I don't even say even me. Like I talk a lot about JUCO and D1.
Yeah.
And again, there's nothing wrong with D2, but I've always said that like my personal opinion, if I feel like the kid's goal is Division 1,
yeah.
my personal opinion is JUCO first,
right.
just because I
Yeah.
feel like that's where the Division
Yeah.
One coaches are going.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah. I agree with that.
There's not a lot of them that gonna say, "Oh, let me look at these D2
Yeah.
kids." Like,
I
unless
agree.
it's a kid that's putting up crazy
Yeah.
numbers.
Yeah.
First of all, I appreciate you. I appreciate you for tuning into this episode, but I need you to do me a big favor. I need you to hit the subscribe button. I want this podcast to go out to everybody that has an athlete playing sports, okay? Hit that subscribe button, go ahead and tap that like button, and let's get back to the episode.
No, as I think through that as you're talking, I think you're right. JUCO got some really good kids in there.
Yes.
You know, for several different reasons. It might not be because a talent issue. It
Yep.
could be a grade issue is why they're there, right?
Yep.
And so there's some really good players at JUCO, and college coaches know that. So yeah, I mean, if you're thinking like, okay, I definitely want to go D1, then yeah, JUCO may be a better route.
Yeah.
But
And then I'm gonna even add to that, like, you truly got the skills to go D1, because I think
Right.
everybody would say that, right?
Right.
Like, I want to go D1. I
Yeah.
was talking to a kid. I'm drawing a huge blank. But she played with FAM last year. And she's at Texas A&M International,
yeah,
and she loves it. You
yeah.
know.
yeah,
And I think she could be a D1 kid. But to your point, she was like, I love the school.
yeah,
I love the campus.
Right.
I love the coach.
yeah.
I'm enjoying
I'm
my
enjoying
time.
my time.
Like,
Yeah.
and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Hey, the ball stopped bouncing at some point, right? And so you want to get as much out of this that's going to help you as you move forward in life. And so some kids just like D2 better. They just enjoy it. It's better for them, or just how they feel about it. They don't love it like that sometimes to play at that D1 level, because it's a grind.
Yeah.
It is a grind at D1. And I try to tell our kids that in our club all the time, and they just I'm ready to go. I'm like, you're not ready to go.
Blitz, but they
You
don't
ain't
see.
ready to go. You know, it's a grind.
It is a full grind.
Yeah.
Now, you talked about earlier that you went with Ray. We didn't even really talk teams.
Yeah.
But so do we go IFN? Do we go SA Finest? Do we?
Well, he has both.
Right.
But yeah, I'm helping with IFN this year. I
Okay.
helped out SA Finest last year. I'll be over at IFN this year, kind of, helping guide that. It's a new program, but I'm excited about it. They
Yeah.
some really good guys over there, some good ladies over there, and the program is gonna be good. It's gonna be a good program. Yeah.
So I know in IFN is pretty much you're just getting over there, but in
Yeah.
general, can you talk about just like the development? Like, what does development look like? And I'm gonna just say both. Because
Yeah.
Ray is both. But with
Yeah.
SA Finance, IFN, like, what does that development look like to help these kids get to the next level?
We really talk about, for the players, there's two levels of development, right? There's a player development, and then there's a team development, right? And I always talk about a winning culture in our gym. Like, we want to create a winning culture. And that comes down to all kinds of stuff. I'll give you an example. We had some 8th graders in the gym the other day, and there was a kid. It's an open run, so there was a kid that was a little bit behind the other kids. The other kid's really good. She's a little bit behind, and one of the better kids got mad that she didn't do something right. So I had to shut the gym down. Like, that's not what we do here, right? I'm the only one. Me and our other coaches are the only ones that are going to be able to coach that kid. Your job is to encourage and be a good teammate. And so I think that, number one, is critical in our gym. Right? There's no player above the other. I don't care how good you are. Ray and I talk all the time. We done had good players. We got kids in the pros. We don't care how good you are. Like, we're not scared to get rid of you. Like, our culture is the most important thing to us. So that's number one, is the standard of our culture. 2, it's about player development, like talking about stats. I try to make sure every kid understands, like, why are you going to go to college, right? If you are 6'2" and bouncy and you're not grabbing me 10 boards, you're going to have a hard time playing at the next level. Right. And it's different for every kid. Or you're a point guard and 5'5" and you shooting 20% of the field and you got 6 turnovers and you got 2 assists. That's a problem.
It ain't looking too good.
It's a problem. Like, and so we're specific about each player. Like, what are you gonna do this summer? This summer, I'll tell all our kids, each one of them, here's what I need you to be doing. You need to be working on your 3. If you can't hit the 3 at a 35 to 40% clip, we struggling. I need you to be in the gym till you get there. And throughout, like, as we're working on our skill set, if there's something we're seeing technically, we pull kids out and say, hey, come over here. This is what you need to work on because you're not doing this right. You're not doing that right. So we really detail at that level. And then from a team development perspective, it's just really understanding how you play the game to win as a unit. Because
Yeah.
I still believe if your team is winning, I know it's not about, from a recruiting perspective, not always about winning and losing, but it kind of is,
Yeah.
right? Because coaches want kids who know how to win.
They want winners.
They want kids who
They
know how
want
to win,
winners.
right?
Yeah.
Does that mean you got to go undefeated in the summer? No. But you got to have a certain competitive, and you got to have a certain know-how on how to move the ball, how to be in the right spot, how to rotate on defense. That's going to help you win and be in every game, even if you're not winning all the games, right? Every time a coach sees that, we generally get comments about our teams is, we like seeing y'all play. I hear that from college coaches all the time. I really like seeing your teams play.
Yeah.
Right? That means they're seeing something in your team that they're teaching, right? And so our goal is when the kid goes to play at the next level, the gap is already big. Day one at college, no matter where you play in D1, D2, whatever, that gap is huge.
Yep.
We're always trying to shrink the gap, right? We're never going to close it completely. Nobody's ever going to come out of our club and go be ready on day one at a college practice. But we're always trying to close that gap to get them ready. And so that's what development looks like for us.
And what about, technically, we're in off season? Or would you say preseason? Same thing.
Yeah, I guess we preseason now.
Yeah, preseason.
Yeah.
I guess you can say preseason.
Yeah.
Like, do you guys have like workouts? What does that look like getting ready for?
Yeah, we'll
season?
touch our kids some. Once their high school season starts, we try to back off a little bit. There may be some kids sometimes that may say, Coach, I've been off. I want to come to the gym shoot. Or they may text me, hey, I need to work out. Or sometimes I'll go to a game and I'll see something like, why are you doing that? It's not how you do this. And like, all right, matter of fact, I had one a couple of weeks ago. Well, can we get in the gym? I need to work on it. Okay, that's cool. So, but typically, and then some kids have their own trainers. Like I don't care who you train with. Like just do the right things. So some kids may go to their own trainers that they like to work with or whatever.
Now, this episode released before season starts, so you got tryouts.
Yeah, I do.
Kids will be coming to the gym. Like, what type of players are y'all looking for at IFN?
We're looking for kids that, again, are very competitive, that want to win, good teammates, who are going to, listen to the things that we're trying to teach them. And then, obviously, they got to have some level of talent, depending on, we have different teams. As you know, we got the GUAA for, the more elite kids, but we also have other teams outside of GUA. Matter of fact, one of our teams will play in the Swiper League. So we're just looking for kids that really are going to play hard, that want to be part of something bigger than just them. Like, honestly, I have no patience for a kid that's just about them. I don't want that kid. I want the kid that's going to come in, that's going to high five a kid that just hit a three.
Yeah.
Right? It's fun. Like now, as we get further and further into this thing, I find myself more teaching kids just how to high five somebody. Like I'm having to tell kids,
so crazy.
It's crazy. I'm having to tell kids, hey, she just gave you a good pass. Go give her a high five. Like I'm having to say that more than I've ever said it before, right? And they'll do it. It's not that they don't want to. It's just something that don't cross their mind, right? And so, but I'll watch how they react to that, and then I'll watch and see do they do it the next time without me telling them, right? And then I just know it's just something they didn't know. Yeah. But if they still a little bit reluctant, it's like, okay, now that kid is on the fence for me now. So,
makes sense.
Yeah.
Marcus, you talk to a lot of college coaches.
Yeah.
What are these college coaches looking for in these athletes? Like, what are those conversations like when they're talking to you about athletes?
I think the same thing I just talked about.
Yeah.
Especially for the high school kids, it's brutal because they can go to the portal. Their patience is little. Like for kids that's not gonna play hard, that's not going to be a good teammate, right? Who's not going to make the right plays because they can just go get what they want out of the portal. They can go watch film on a kid that's unplayed, 30 college games. So a lot of what I just talked about, I think, is what a lot of coaches looking for, which is why that's what we look for.
Right.
So
tournaments. I know we kind of talked about it a little bit, but how do you guys now? Obviously, Under Armour, you got to play in certain events. But how do y'all pick the tournaments that you're playing in?
What's funny about Texas is the non-live event circuit has been the same for almost since I've been in it.
You know, I tell people, you don't necessarily, if you're in Texas,
Yeah.
you don't really
You
got
don't have to go, you don't really have to go nowhere.
You don't have to go
No.
anywhere.
No.
But everybody want to be, I'm on a national team,
Yeah.
I want to travel. You don't have to go
Yeah.
anywhere.
Yeah, we've had the same events in Texas that, outside of the live events for as long as I remember, and they're still good.
Like,
You know, we'll go to Joey's event to start off, go to Ray's event. Ray, I think, who is it, Joey or Ray first? I can't
Joey.
even think. Joey's
And then you
first.
got Ray, you
Then we
got
got Ray,
April, yep.
April. And then by that time, you're in your first session,
Yep.
right? And then you come out of there in March. March may be a little
Or
new.
May, you mean.
May, sorry.
May is the only one.
May's the one that's kind of newer. We see who's having what, but then you got the live event in May.
Yep.
And then June, you letting kids go to college camps.
And you got Earl.
And then you got Earl to get ready for July. So
Yeah.
it's been like that for a while. And they're all good events to get you ready,
Yeah.
you know?
All around here.
Yeah, all around here. It's nothing, Ruben has a good one in Oklahoma.
Yes.
That's another
Shout out
good
to
thing.
Ruben.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So that was a good one. He's just been around for a while that occasionally we would go to. It's great for D2 kids.
I went every year, and every year
Yeah.
a kid picked up an offer.
It's great for D. It's a ton of D2s go to
You
that
have
event.
coaches. If you have any D2 kids, you need to be at Border War.
Yeah.
It is in April, third week in April, I think. Third week in April. Make sure y'all look that up. Border
Yeah.
Wars. He also released. Did you see his Portal games?
I heard about it, but I hadn't seen it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
and I don't know too much about it, but I know he's doing a Portal games
Yeah.
for Portal kids.
Good.
So D2
That's
kids,
awesome.
if you're D2, NAIA,
Yeah.
anything but D1.
Yeah.
You'll come to the Portal games. It's gonna be
Be
a
like
lot of
camp
coaches
style.
there. Yes,
That's
like camp
nice.
style. I like it.
Yeah.
I think if people can get on board,
Yeah.
that's gonna be something.
That's gonna be good. It's gonna be good for those kids who are transferring but didn't get a lot of minutes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's who it's for.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
don't have
You don't have film,
Film.
or stats.
you don't
Yeah.
have nothing. So you
Yeah.
want to get in the portal, but
Yeah.
how can somebody know anything about you?
Right.
You didn't play much.
Right.
Like you said, you don't have the stats or the film. So
Right.
I'm excited about that. Like I
Yeah.
think that's gonna be dope.
Yeah. That sounds cool. Yeah, I had heard about it, but I didn't know if it came around or
Yeah, I
not.
think he's doing it May actually. First weekend in May.
Okay. That's a good time too.
So you mentioned with the Swiper League, y'all had 2 live period dates. What dates?
May, and July.
So how do y'all plan to, I guess you could say, compete? It's the same date with, because if it's in May, it's in Texas?
Yeah, May being in Houston.
So
be down
even
in
better.
Houston.
So how
Yeah.
do y'all plan to compete with or draw teams to Swiper League when you got Clash of the Clubs?
We have some committed, that's why it's the league, right? So you got all the events. So we have committed teams already, and we'll, reach out to some other teams and other clubs and see if they're coming out. I just think there's going to be an appetite for it,
Yeah.
$50 parking, we ain't on that.
Yeah.
$75 weekend pass, no, we're not having that.
Yeah.
There's going to be a point where the appetite for that wears down and says, I'm not getting the value out of this. I'm paying all this money, and I'm not getting out of this what I'm putting into it. So
Yeah. So let me go in from a college coach standpoint. If I'm gonna just say, since those are the 2 we talking about, if the talent, if I'm a college coach and I can see more of the talent at one facility,
mhm.
what will make me want to go to another facility with less teams?
Well, some of that's relationships that we have,
Mm-hmm.
right? Again, Ray's been in the business a long time. I've been in the business a long time, and we're gonna have kids that's gonna fit their profile,
Makes
right?
sense.
And so coaches will go where
Where
kids fit their profile,
Yeah.
right? It's gonna be hard to say if you getting a call from one of us and we're telling you we got a group of kids that fit your profile. It's gonna be hard for them not to go
Yeah.
for several
Fact.
reasons.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
For several reasons, it's gonna be hard for them not to go, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna show their faces, right? They're gonna pop up and show. Kids got to perform,
Yeah.
but I think there will be an appetite for them to take a break from where they are and come over and check it out, because we'll have kids to fit, what they're doing, and so I think that's the key,
Yeah.
right? And again, I'm in small business. There's always enough in the marketplace for two things to survive,
For sure.
right? The 800 team tournament can survive, and we can survive with a 100 team tournament.
Yeah.
I'm totally okay with that,
Yes.
right? So it doesn't, is it a competition? Yes, but we're not trying to turn our event into an 800 team event.
Right.
We're not going after that market, right? We're just looking for a market that can provide value to a certain group of kids. And if that's 100 to 120 teams, that's our max anyway. We don't want to go no more than that,
Makes
right?
sense.
Because that's the value of it, keeping it to a number that's manageable for coaches to get in there and see some kids and kind of like this event, and for people to have a good time, and for the cost to stay low and reasonable for people to be able to afford it.
Yeah.
So I think those two things can exist easily.
Yeah. I like that. Marcus, there's a lot of parents that need some help.
Yeah.
They're doing the best that they can, but they just don't know the landscape. I always say AAU is chaotic. That's my word. But what advice would you give to parents as they're helping navigate their athlete's journey?
Yeah. I think what you're doing is fantastic.
I appreciate that.
I think what you're doing is helping with some of that. An independent third party that has no particular bias towards any one club, any one event, any one team. I think, what you're doing is a step in that direction. And so I think following the podcast that you do, you've interviewed people from, college coaches, to pros, to AAU coaches, the high school coaches. There's some value in there they should be able to pull out of all of that, number one. So I think, hats off to you for doing that. Secondly, there are other independent people. You got Jason Keys out there. You got all these different evaluators out there who are doing stuff that again, they're not necessarily geared towards any one club, any one person. That maybe you have your kid evaluated. Walk up to him, say, "Hey, watch my kid play. I just need some help. I don't know where to go. Watch my kid and tell me where they belong. And be ready to hear something that you don't want to hear."
That's the one right there.
Right? I think that's part of it. Parents don't want to hear something that may be outside of what their expectation is for their kid. And so for one, they got to get over themselves to be able to get the feedback they need to make the best decision they can for their kids. Because, and I try to, I do be honest with people, but I also understand that, parents want the best for their kid.
Yeah.
I've had kids go through this, been through it, so I get it. But it's hard to try to get them when they're not hearing what they want to hear. It's really hard to get them like reeled in and say, "Listen, this is what's best for you."
Yeah.
Because sometimes it don't feel good in the moment, right? If you think your kid should be playing at GUAA, but they playing, on that second squad, but it's where they belong, it's where they're gonna get better at. It's hard for sometimes parents to they'd rather go sit on the bench, which
Absolutely, which is crazy.
That's crazy to me. I don't understand it. But, they just hoping that they like thinking in their mind, like, I know my kid can play better than that kid or better than this kid. And so they go there thinking so. But it's not always better than sometimes it's just a fit. It's just maybe they just need to get a little bit better and they're not going to get the right opportunity.
Yeah. And I feel like we talked about the transfer portal in college. But I think that's why it's the AAU transfer portal.
That AAU transfer portal is
brutal. It is brutal.
Talk about something different that I had to get accustomed to is that.
Like what?
Like, when we played, kids just played the whole season. Even if they didn't come back the next season, they played.
You're gonna finish
They
it
finished
out.
the whole season.
You're going to finish the season
I've seen
out.
kids in 3 different uniforms in the same summer. I'm just like, wow.
Same summer, how about same weekend? I'm like, and I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. I do feel like if you went to a program and it's just not it.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, like
you gotta do,
you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
But that starts because you're not asking the right questions, because you just out here just picking teams, and it's gonna, I always say right after Joey, it's gonna open up a little bit.
Yeah.
People gonna be like, "Oh, this
ain't it."
No.
Yeah.
And then after that first live period, oh, it's on.
But you know what's funny? Like, they knew it before then.
Yeah.
They knew it in practice.
Yes.
Right? They knew it in tryouts, but they didn't really want to say, "All right, I'm gonna go to this other team." It might not be the highlight, it might not be the top team, but they knew it in practice. They could see their kid wasn't touching the ball in practice. They didn't just find out then, right?
It's
So
crazy. The AAU portal and parents, again, don't get me wrong. You have to find the right fit.
Yeah.
Like people going, just like anything, you're gonna make a mistake.
Right.
You might choose
Absolutely.
the wrong team at the end of
Yeah.
the day. I don't think that you have to be miserable. I don't think that you have to be
Right.
unhappy.
I agree.
It's expensive,
It is.
but we can avoid a lot of that.
Yeah. They just gotta They have to be open to seeing what they seeing and saying, okay, this is not it early on.
Yes.
That's why I say go to multiple tryouts. Like I don't mind. You know, I've had kids that play for me. Coach, I'm gonna go to this other tryout or something. Go ahead. I want you to go.
So then you can actually
So
see.
now you can see, like, when you come back here, what's the difference? Now, are we a better fit? And sometimes the other team is a better fit. That's
Right.
fine. I'm okay with that. Right? A lot of the times they come back.
I
So
can't tell you how many conversations I've had with parents where they'll be like, I just did not know that this team don't actually practice.
right. Yeah, I know.
You didn't research that?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's the glamour and the glitz to get some people sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the glamour and glitz is tough.
It's like, what?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
yeah.
As we wrap up, there's a 25 that does not have any offers, want to play college basketball. Can you talk in that camera and talk to that 25?
Yeah, I would say, first of all, you have to finish what's left of the season really, really strong. And then secondly, again, try to evaluate where your game is and then reach out to schools that will fit that profile, right? If you are a D2 kid that can shoot the basketball, you don't want to go play for a team that's running a bunch of dribble handoffs and driving to the hole. So understanding where your game is and then where you would fit in the school and then start to reach out and send film to those schools. Because, if you see a school that's like shooting a bunch of threes and you can shoot a three, when you send their film to them making threes, then they're gonna know, okay, this is close to what I like to see. Right. So, and I think that's something that we didn't talk about. This kids don't do enough is understanding. They say I want to go to a certain school, but they don't know what kind of system that school plays.
That's a fact.
Right. And so not understanding, you may want to go there and you may even have the talent to go there, but the system they run don't fit you. And so I always tell kids look at the different conferences, because even at a conference level, basketball is played different.
Yes.
How the SEC plays is way different
Than the
than
Big 12.
the Big 12.
Yeah.
It's a totally different game. What used to be the Pac-12 was different than the ACC or whatever. So I think kids need to watch a little more college basketball and understand, and then creating that film and then targeting schools, go to their camps. There are camps coming up. Go to that camp in the summer, work out in that camp, and really show out. I've had several kids get offers in camps. Camps are critical.
I'm glad you said something about camps, because that's another issue I see is going to the right camps.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see a lot of kids, and no disrespect, like if you want to go to a camp for an experience, that's fine.
Right.
But I see a lot of kids that'll go to a South Carolina camp, they'll go to an LSU camp.
There's no point.
And it's like they're not
Yeah.
interested. Like I think that you should use camps as another recruiting tool.
Absolutely. My daughter got to Texas State through the camp.
Really?
Yeah. We walked
Wow.
out of camp with an offer. She had some other ones,
Right.
but they weren't on her until camp. We targeted
Wow.
that school. We went down. It was close to home. We liked the environment. Yeah, let's go down here to this camp. This fits. And I saw them a little bit. I said, I think this fits what you do. We went to camp. She killed it, walked out with an offer before we left. The assistant coach at the time said, I'm going to go talk to Coach Z, see that she might laugh. I'm not letting her leave without getting an offer. And sure enough, they offered us at camp.
Wow.
Yeah. So I think camps, every June, we don't do much. And I always tell kids, send me your camp schedule. So I make them send me that camp schedule. And if I see something that's off the wall for that kid, I'll have a conversation with them about it. Not necessarily
That's
not
good.
go, but like, hey, are you going here just kind of for the experience because you like it? Or are you going to try to get scholarship because you're not going to play at this level? Like, it may be a waste. Right. And so I'll have that conversation with them. And then I'll look at the schools and I'll call ahead, if it's some schools I know. Hey, I got so-and-so coming down. Take a look at her. Let me know what you think about her. And so that gives them a heads up to be looking for their kid because they
Yep.
know that's my kid while they there, and they get to get an evaluation.
Yeah.
And sometimes they jump on it, sometimes they don't.
Right.
But I feel like, I want them to go somewhere they at least got a chance.
Yep.
But yeah, I review our kids' camp schedule every year.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, you spending this money, you're going to these camps, but you're
Yeah.
going to camps that make no sense.
Yeah. I don't think that's a waste of time, money, effort. Like, so I think camps is underrated.
It is.
You can get, even I remember when, I used to go to back when AAU coaches used to be able to coach at camps.
Yeah.
I used to coach at the Texas camp, and there was usually a kid that would walk out with an offer then.
Yeah.
I've seen kids even at the bigger schools get something, like, especially if they were young.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen kids, if not, they were young and like move up, and then they'll follow them
Yeah.
throughout the summer. But I think camps are still an extremely valuable tool.
That just brought back a memory when I was with DFW Elite.
Yeah.
Coach Mudd used to
You go-
load up that van,
I did the same thing.
Oh my
I loaded up the
God.
van with my kids back in the day.
and we
Go to
was-
camp.
Yes.
Deep. That was the best times. Yeah. So
Yes.
we could coach at the camps then. So
Yeah.
that was fun times. That was fun times.
I miss
It was fun
that.
for several reasons because then you get to coach other kids that might
Yeah.
even play for you, and then it was just fun to see those kids at other camps and coach with them and play them for that weekend, and then we all see each other later.
Yep.
It was just a little bit different,
Good times.
Yeah, it was fun then. That was fun, but yeah, I don't think people load up like that no more and go.
No.
Part of it I think because they they can't get AAU coaches to coach anymore. I think they outlawed that a few years back.
That's true. Now, do you recommend team camp?
I think that's more for a high school.
Yeah.
I wouldn't take my team to a camp.
Yeah.
I think there's some high schools I think still take teams to camps, and it's more for just camaraderie and
Yeah.
keeping them. But I think going individual to elite camps are the way to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going with
Yeah.
just elite camp.
yeah, just
Needs to
elite
be
camp.
elite camp.
Yeah, and the good thing is at school, almost every school at every level has one.
Yes.
Right, no matter where you play. I guess JUCO don't, but if you want to play D1, D2, they all have camps.
Mhm.
And at the very least, at least can get you on the map
Yeah.
for that school, right? Because sometimes you're good enough, but they already got an offer out to somebody in that position.
For sure.
So now you go on the backup list,
Mhm.
and so that could be worth it.
Yeah.
So
I knew this was gonna be a good episode.
it was fun. It was fun.
It was gonna be a good episode. I have enjoyed talking to you, and I just appreciate you, y'all. I call Marcus for everything. I'm just saying, basketball, real estate, life, whatever. So I definitely appreciate you.
No problem. I'm glad to see this thing is moving. We talked about it for a long time and a long
Yes.
time ago. So I'm proud every time I see your clips come out and I see your gear coming out.
I appreciate
I
it.
feel like I had just a little bit of part of that, a little
You
bit.
did. You had a little bit. You had a little bit part of it, and I definitely appreciate it.
Yeah.
Tell people where they can find you.
You can find me on X. I was about to say Twitter.
I still say Twitter.
I was about to say X. Shoot, I can't remember my handle. I'm gonna have to look it up. But I'm out there. I'm not out there that much. But you can call me DM Ashley. She has my contact information. I'm not gonna put it on here, but DM Ashley. She'll hook you up with my number and give me a call. I'm pretty available to talk to anybody.
Yes. Make sure y'all follow the podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow on Apple, Spotify. And if you've been listening, you already know what I'm gonna say. If you're not following the page on Instagram, I don't know what you're doing. Follow the page. It's just different pod.
Did you know that I have a program just for you? Yes, the 6-week program, Court to College, a Basketball Family's Guide to Recruiting. And it's not too late for you to join. We have 6 weeks of information. You get all the recordings. I know that you guys are busy, so if you can't make the actual call, don't worry. You got the recordings and you got it for a lifetime. The parents are getting worksheets. The parents are getting guides. They're getting templates. And they get to ask questions every single week. 6 weeks of information. We're going over choosing the right AAU team. We're going over recruitment. We're going over network. We're going over contacting college coaches. We're going over it all. And you need to be in a program. Click the link in the description wherever you're watching this and come on and join us in a 6-week program.